is Cat Visuals.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy KG. Welcome back to Cast Visuals. This is that review for the Batman. I saw it last night. I had a day to sit on it, and now we're gonna talk about it. If you are wondering how I do my reviews, basically I'm gonna start with a short little spoiler-free review first, and then the second half of the video we're gonna talk spoilers. So I will let you know before the spoilers come. I'm not gonna throw anything at you that you don't want to hear, because I know the movie's been out for what, 3 days, or really 2, excluding all the fan premieres that happened all throughout last week. So to start out, I like this movie. This movie was really enjoyable. Let's start out with these positives, all right? Movie was really enjoyable. I would say that Robert Pattinson, he owned it. The reason I'm gonna say it is because when he showed up, anytime he was in the movie, he was on screen in that suit, I didn't see Robert Pattinson at all. Like, I that's Batman. You know what I mean? It's just, it might just be the way, I think a lot of it had to do with the way it was directed by Matt Reeves. It was just like the way, like visually, like oh man, see, now it's kind of hard not to go into spoilers, but it's just like the way certain things are revealed, the way certain things happen. It's just like his presence was different. Like, it was just like, if you can have a scene, but like when he's there, it's like you feel the tone shift, you know what I mean? Like, there's scenes when there's people all around, but then as soon as he shows up, it's just kind of like hush. Like, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, so like this is what's happening right now. So it's very interesting that how they were able to really like bring that up. And I think the other half of that had to really do with Robert Pattinson. Like, he embodied it so well, like just that it was mysterious. It's like, you know, it's Bruce Wayne under the cowl, but it's just like all you're seeing is Batman. You're not thinking about Bruce Wayne right now. Like, you're not thinking about the actor. Like, you see the character he's portraying. And I thought that was really, really cool and really important, by the way. The Bruce Wayne part of it, like, he really wasn't Bruce Wayne throughout a lot of the movie. And I know going into, a lot of people were saying, oh god, he's not really Bruce Wayne. He's not really like the playboy Bruce Wayne, like the rich one that, you know, like goes after the girls and stuff. Like, I'm like, you know, the point of the movie is like he's still struggling with that, you know what I mean? He's still trying to figure out what Batman is, who he is really, because he's still struggling mentally. Like, he you know, he's still, you know, there are things that he has yet to find out that he's been looking for the answers to, you know. So, and he's just at a point where he feels like the only way he can make a difference is in that suit. And I liked how they played on that a lot. So it just, most of the movie, it was nice seeing him actually in the suit. Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle, I really enjoyed her character. The tension or the chemistry between Catwoman and Batman was insane. Like, it was just immediately, as soon as they were on the screen together, it was just like you could feel the connection there. Maybe that's just because the two actors being friends, but we've seen that before, and the chemistry isn't like as strong as it needs to be. You know what I mean? You know how everybody really enjoyed Makari and Druig in the Eternals, but Icarus and Cersei, like those two, Richard Madden and Gemma Khan, like they're close in real life, but their chemistry wasn't as strong. So with this having Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, their chemistry was instant. You just felt it. Like they were so good at, here's like a physical connection, and the tension, they were so good at pulling it to the point where it was like right there under it, and then just like kind of like pull it away, make you be like, like they had a way of making you want to see them together more, and I really like that. Like I enjoyed like really all like the characters that were in it, like Falcone, Penguin. Like I really enjoyed the old school mob gangster type feel that they were both playing off of. I feel like you don't see too much of that now, and like it's different for today's time. It's kind of like putting the modern twist on it. I really got some excitement out of that. So I really enjoyed their role. Gordon, played by Jeffrey Wright, I really liked him. I liked the relationship he had with Batman. Like how, like even you could tell in the trailers, like how, like they're a unit. Like at this point in Batman's career, like they trust each other enough to know that they're on the same side. You know what I mean? And it's certain moments where, like, I'll talk about that in the spoiler part. There's certain moments between the two where it's just like the trust here is like solid. Like it was very, very satisfying to see. But let's talk about, I can't really, the main negative. I'm not going to say there's not many or other negatives, because like again, it's still fresh in my head. It's only been a day. But if I had to say there was a negative, it's the length of the movie. Now, don't get me wrong. I love this movie. I enjoyed it. I'd go see it again, probably once, maybe twice, but another time for sure. But that length really like pulled the movie down a little bit. Like, it's not that it wasn't good in certain parts, or it was like rushed or anything, or slow, or it was just going through the story. There were certain moments where I'm like, okay, this is the climax of the film, and I'm like, this is probably it right here. And then it was just like, oh, that's not it. Oh, he's not done. Like, there's another piece to this. Like, it keeps going. And I was like, I mean, not that I'm complaining or anything. It was just like, all right, I mean, hey, if you got more to show me, let's go. Like, the good thing about it is, even though it was long, I was never bored. It had my attention. You know what I mean? So it depends how you look at it. Like, then my favorite thing about this movie, and this is what's going to end the non-spoiler portion, my favorite thing about this movie is the fact that Batman is different from any other Batman we've gotten. To me, this is my personal opinion. He is, while he's more like vicious, like he's more like he's not pulling his punches at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you get in his way, like he's putting your ass down. Like, like it's the way that they portrayed the story, the way he was placed in the story. It's just like, this Batman isn't just a brawler. He's smart. You know what I mean? Like, you got to see how smart, like, Batman Bruce Wayne is, because you see him like at crime scenes with Gordon, and they're like piecing stuff together, like reading out the riddles that the Riddler's leaving behind. It's just like, it's the way his mind's working. He's like, okay, if like this definitely has something to do with this. I don't think this matters here, but I think this matters because of this and this. You know, it was wild, but I really like seeing that. But let's go ahead and hop into spoilers. So, spoilers for the Batman. This is basically just going to be me talking about my favorite parts, what I enjoyed. If there was some things where I'm like, okay, this could have been changed, or here's some things I've heard people say, and this is my opinion on it. But yeah, man, the way that Matt Reeves was able to it was the tone that he created, the way he used the visuals to create the tone. Like it's like the rain and then the lights, and you know there's some scenes where it's like the blurriness, like where you can't really see, you can kind of make out what's happening but not necessarily. It made you want to just like go deeper into it just to see like what was going on. And then the first scene where the guys are on the subway with you know, the main kid who's actually Robin in the Titans show. I like that that they were all like, you know, beating up this one man, and then all of a sudden you just hear like just out the shadows, it's like doo doo doo, and it's just like, oh shit, and everybody's like, what the hell's going on? And you see like down like not the subway, but down, I guess, like the hallway or whatever, it's just black, like you can't see anything, and like everybody's just kind of like freaked out, and you just see him slowly just come out of the shadow, like he was one with the shadow, and he just came out of it. Was crazy. I really like that. I like how in the fights, like they were trying to get their little hits in, but his aggression was just so like every punch, he meant something with every punch. Like I love the fact that like even with the jail scene that I was talking about, the way I was talking about in the non-spoiler portion, where how him and Gordon really trusted each other, like how like they're like when he got knocked out from the explosion and he's just like laying there, and they're like, oh, I want to know what this guy looks like, and they reach for the mask and he instantly like pops up and he starts swinging on people, and Gordon's like, hey, and everybody's like, you support this guy? And he's like, yeah, everybody get out of here, I'll calm this guy down, like I'll let me diffuse this situation, you know. And you know the way him and Batman are talking, he's like you really think that this has something to do with this, or like, you know, he's talking, but his mannerisms are saying like he's like really talking shit to him, like don't disrespect me. That's what his mannerisms are saying. But when he's actually like Batman's like, who's the guy over here, who's the guy with the mustache, and then you've got Gordon just being like, oh, that guy, like it doesn't even matter, like it looks like saying it doesn't even matter, but he's just like, you know, I think this guy's in charge of narcotics. And you know, it was cool the way they were covering that up, because they can't hear from the outside of the room and everybody's just staring, like trying to figure out what they're talking about. And I really thought that was cool. Batman and Catwoman, like I said, their tension's there. You want to see more of these two together, and I'm pretty sure like this movie's going to do well. Like it's definitely getting a sequel, so I'm sure we're going to get that. I've been hearing some people say that Catwoman's reasons for being in the film are lackluster. I was like, I somewhat agree but disagree at the same time, because you see, it's like I like the fact that she's trying to help somebody out of a situation, like her friend Annika, even though I'm like, Annika didn't really need to be in the film, you know what I mean? I think I would have liked it better had Catwoman just got tied up with the wrong people and she's like, I just want out, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm done with this shit, like it's just getting too crazy, I want out and I'm leaving. Like I feel like that would have been like a better type of, you know, reason for her to like come together with Bruce. But I get it, because even though with the situation they gave us, their enemies and their the people they were after, their targets all lined up in the same way, so you know it led them on the same path. Either way you would have done it. So I mean, that's why I'm like, yeah, sure, I agree to a certain extent, but I also disagree. So you know, I think it's fine the way it was, but some of that could have been shaved down to like save the movie time. I get that. I went to see this in 4DX, by the way. So like it was crazy, because it's like the way they did it, you know, with Batman being like in the shadows and there's something quickly happening. It was like the seats will be still, and then it's like between what's happening on the screen and the seat moving, it kind of like make you jump a little bit, like, oh shit, like you, so you just like, you're instantly like oh, like what's in the movie, like, or like what's going on. Like you had the like when he first started the Batmobile, like when we were sitting, like it was hard to find tickets. So we had to get in the front. Didn't bother me any. It didn't bother my sisters either. They went with me. But when he starts the Batmobile, like the smoke that like fills the theater, like it hit like we were standing right behind the car. So like the screen's foggy, like the car's like dry. I thought it was dope, because I was like, I feel like I'm standing like right beside him, like when he fired up the engine and like took off. I was like, it pulled me like straight into it. So that was cool to me. This is the first time they've seen a 4DX movie, so I think it scared the hell out of them. So I, you know, but yeah, it was the whole chase scene was freaking wild. That Batmobile is something else. And then that's like another part again, just that whole sequence. Like I love the it made me love the scene with Penguin just be like, I got you, and then like him coming out the damn the smoke or the fire, like with the Batmobile. He's been like, ah shit, like when he's walking over to the car, just kind of like he realized there's nothing he can do, and he just has to sit there while this guy in a bat suit just like walks over like so slow to him, like kneels down and just looks in the car like, there you are. And it's like, oh my god. But it was crazy. And then something else. So when I thought the movie had ended was like when Riddler was basically saying he knows who he is, and when he was like, Batman's his next target and stuff like that. And I was like, oh shit, you know. So my mind instantly, once I saw like the poster board when he was like tracking who the Batman is, like I was like, they are not going to do this in Batman's first movie. Like they can't do this. And thank God they didn't. At least I don't believe they did. But it's just like I'm glad they didn't go that route. But it was just, I started freaking out. It's like, what is this going on? I thought that was going to be like the cliffhanger, how it ended or something like that. But no, the way it went forward was like the Riddler basically set, what did he say, 7 bombs? I think it was 7 bombs around like the outskirts of the city. So he bombed the outskirts, and like all the water from the harbor started like flooding the entire city. And I was just like, oh, one thing they did, I feel like they definitely moved the Riddler up in the rankings of Batman's rogues. They showed that Joker isn't the only high ranking mind game mentalist opposition for Batman, you know. Like the Riddler's up there too. Like, you know, like if some people, because you know, when you think about Batman villains, it's always Batman and Joker, Batman and Bane. You know, it's always like it's certain people, but I think this put Riddler there. You know what I mean? So I was glad about that. Just like the more it went, like at first you're like, okay, Riddler. He's just, you know, he's just got, you know, these clues and stuff is leading to like some kind of reveal. But the further it went on, you're like, this guy's kind of crazy. Like this guy's dangerous. Like he's trying to like destroy the whole city so he can run it the way he sees fit. And it's just like it was really good, really enjoyable. But we'll go ahead and give this movie a grade, and if I were to grade The Batman, I'd say I would give this movie a solid B. If I had to go number grade, I'd say 8. So I think that's pretty fair. I think that's pretty fair for this movie. This movie, it was good. The characters you could get into. I feel like there were very few instances where you were like, okay, this could have been done differently, like the Annika storyline and stuff like that. But then I think the main part that like really just pulled the movie down, just like for the most part, but not too much, like it was still very enjoyable. But I think the main thing that like really just pulled the rating or the grade down for me was just the length of time, because it was just like when it just like you're thinking, it's like it's been a while. Like I usually, if I know, like if I realize, like I zone out the movie and I'm just kind of like, I've been in here a while. Like that's not good. You know what I mean? So that means I know if I've felt like that, I know a bunch of other people have felt like that. So I'd say that's the only real huge negative about the movie. Like if I had to come up with one thing that I would say like would be like, I don't know if I'd go see it again. I would go see it again at least one more time, you know. But it's because I know it's something to sit through, and I think that's going to hurt its rewatchability at the same time. So I would give this movie a solid 8. But yeah, guys, that's my non-spoiler / spoiler review for The Batman. Whether you guys get these videos separate, I guess you'll find out. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments section. How'd you feel about the movie? Have you gone to see it yet? Or when will you be seeing it? And where do you rank Robert Pattinson as far as all the Batmans? So, like, I don't have an answer to that question myself. That is something I'm definitely going to have to think about. But, yeah, you guys let me know that, and I will see you guys in the next video.